Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the June 2nd meeting for the Michigan City Historic Preservation Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I now call the meeting of June the 2nd open for due business. Please,
Sorry. Commissioner Dalton,
up present.
Commissioner Hurt. Here. Oh, am I not on?
No,
Sorry about that. Commissioner Dalton is present. Commissioner Hurt. Here. Nice to see you. Commissioner Zimmer.
Here.
Commissioner Esparr.
Here.
Commissioner Matsey. Here. Commissioner Haddad. Commissioner Coulter. Commissioner Hicks.
Here.
Commissioner Bowman.
here.
Commissioner Grandquist.
Here.
You come in either. Great. And we have Attorney Hale and Wendy Vache. present.
Here.
Thank you. Okay. I believe we can move on to minutes.
Has everyone had a chance to look at their agenda and their minutes for tonight? Does anyone have any questions? Can we have a motion to accept the minutes? Oh, how about a motion for the agenda first?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay,
I will second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. A motion for the minutes. There were a lot of them. I know.
We've got 3 of them, so we can go through them one at a time probably. And I make a motion to approve the Monday, March 4 minutes as prepared with no changes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Your next one? Go ahead, Dan.
Well, everyone's quiet. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Monday, March 24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve minutes for April 28th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for jumping in, Dwayne, and not making Dan do it again.
Thought about it.
And I've asked Pat to read our statement of purpose.
Okay. Historic preservation is good for cities. No, not just good. Historic preservation is great for cities. The reasons historic preservation is great for cities are multiple: aesthetic, symbolic, cultural, social, educational, economic, and others. Our statement of purpose comes from Place Economics, 24 Reasons Historic Preservation is Good for Your Community. We also read from section 62-2 of the Michigan City Municipal Code on compliance. The erection, construction, enlargement, alteration, repair, demolition, color change, moving or maintenance of any building, structure, or appurtenance which is begun, continued, or maintained contrary to any provisions in this chapter is hereby declared to be a nuisance and in violation of this chapter and unlawful. Any person, whether as principal, agent, owner, lessee, tenant, contractor, builder, architect, engineer, or otherwise, who violates any provision of this chapter shall be punished as provided in section 1-7.
Thank you, Pat. Did we receive any correspondence? Okay,
No.
we'll move on to applications.
Sure. So we have received, there's been several actually. And as you know, we've been working on our new process. So I'll explain a little bit more about that and what we're going to do with cloud permit and what we're not. But we manage our applicants. We're very patient. And so we managed to grab what we needed and do a quick review and pull it all together. So the first application is for 916 Pine Street. And you have the applications and the photos in your packet. This location received a previous certificate of appropriateness for work on the property. But the windows were not included because the applicant decided to restore the windows on the first floor. Is the applicant here? Okay, so I thought maybe that looked like you. I'm gonna let him come up and tell a little bit about this, but obviously the best of intention working with Kinetic and Crown Point to restore the windows, and it has been, needless to say, more challenging than all parties thought and has become difficult to even do given the hardware availability, the cost of the project is going up, et cetera. So they've reached out to put in a COA now to see if at least the top second floor windows could be replacement windows based on what they've dealt with on the first floor. But I will let the applicant come and speak. Well, since it's your house and you've got a better sense of what's going on with the windows, I think the commissioners need to hear it. Thank you.
All right, so do I need to say my name, address, all that stuff?
If you would,
Okay.
please.
Stephen Vigneri, 556 Northview, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385 for 916 Pine here in Michigan City. And so, yes, as she stated, all of that is true. We contracted with Kinetic window and screen repair in Crown Point, and I don't know how familiar you are with them, but that's what they do is restoration of windows and screens. Long story short, we came on some rotted frames, which we could rebuild the frames, but the big problem that we came up with was that the inner workings of the windows a lot of them are worn down, the teeth of the mechanics, and so a lot of those pieces are cast or machined, and the existing hardware that is available now, for instance, I should have brought it with me, but the one that we have was a little wheel that slid, and the current hardware is now a square that slides. So we would have had to reach out to one place to have castings of the equipment, and another company do some of the machining, and it just was outside of just being cost prohibitive, which it would have been. It is also just the logistics of it. We don't even know how we could accomplish it, just with needing both multiple trades just to put it together. And then also the cost would obviously mount massively, probably $2,000 a window in just hardware. And that's before the restoration, before they're reinstalled. So it's like, okay, I know when to take a step back. And so this is that step back. So what we were proposing, and I don't know, I forgot to look back at it. What we're proposing is that we utilize any usable hardware from the upper floors to make sure that the main level is restored and that it is operable with the existing windows that were, as far as we can tell, installed at the build. But then the second floor, that's a little bit more out of eyesight, that we would in that space that we would replace just that second level. So that's what we're hoping to get approved.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
How many windows are on the first floor? You said that they've all been approved? I mean, all been repaired?
There are issues with some of the mechanics on the bottom level too. So we were proposing to use some of the mechanics from the second floor on the first floor so that we would actually be able to restore the whole first floor at the very least.
So I have a question. So the house we're talking about is the house at the northeast corner. Is that right?
Correct.
Dark green siding with
that's-
white trim and,
That's 832.
oh,
That's my go sit down and come back up next for that.
so what's this one then?
This one is 916 Pine and Baxter, the old Baxter house.
So do we have any pictures of what that house looks like?
Oh, we did have all that before.
I don't think we have it here, but
I pulled it up on Google Earth, because this was one that, I'm sorry. I pulled it up on Google Earth because this is one that was actually had been put in our system, so it wasn't like a paper copy
right.
that we had. So you may not have no, you don't have the photos of the outside. I looked at it online.
I think we had a
can
picture of
pull
it
them up.
at a meeting a couple months ago.
Did we do, we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
there should be.
Yeah.
I can pull some of those up as well if that would help, just so people understand what property we're talking about here.
Larry, did you have other questions too?
Well,
Or you want to start there?
yeah, I was thinking that it was that traditional house that has double hung windows and he's proposing all casement windows. So I'm not seeing how doing the second floor in casement is going to match the first floor double hungs.
Understood. None of the windows in this house are double hung. I believe 2 are. Let me find these.
So it's a modern house then?
No, it's not. So this is the state of the property. So it's right across from the new condos that are going up. This is before we repainted. Yeah. So I don't know if you recognize the property. Right on 10th and Pine.
Mhm.
10th and Pine.
Yes, sir.
So I'm concerned though that this casement window is not really appropriate for a house like that.
That's what's in it.
So there you can see, here is the top as it was on that day. Those are,
And it has mutton bars in there.
yes. Which it should be marked on there. There would be those mutton bars and they would be in the pane.
Mhm.
But they would also be present in the reproductions.
So it's basically replacing them like they are right now.
As close as we can get to them.
So you will have the mutton bars on the windows?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they'll be the kind that are surface mounted to the glass, not internal?
We were gonna put them internal. We could surface mount them.
That they would need to be on
Okay.
the surface in order to meet our
Yeah, that's
standard.
fine with us.
Anyone else have any questions?
How many windows are upstairs?
I believe there's 13. Is that Amy?
No other questions?
Did you do any historical research on this house to see what it might have looked like in the past before these windows were put in?
Oh my,
No. Before these existing windows were put in?
yes, that's what he's asking.
Yeah.
That house was like that. I can remember when I was young, which was quite a while ago. They always were that way. They never matched.
Hmm.
The lower level never matched the top level.
And then what about the material? What is are they all vinyl or?
I believe, I looked at that again as when I came in. I believe that's what's proposed is vinyl replacements on the top there. And I believe again that it does have a diagram of their construction there as well.
So
Let's see here. Yes, sir.
So the ones you restored are of what material?
The ones restored are wood.
Or wood?
They're the wooden frames and the wooden sashes. Everything is wood replaced with wood where needed.
And did you research whether you could get the same kind of windows for the second floor so that they more closely match for the second floor so they more closely match the first floor?
We did, and we could get like vinyl wrapped wood or something similar to that. I mean, if as far as cost goes, it would obviously be a higher cost to go with those. So we were hoping, because they're on the second level, because they're off the street level, that we'd be able to replace them in vinyl, being as close to that first level as possible, but we'd be open if needed to doing like vinyl wrapped wood or something similar, something similar to that.
Any
Well,
other questions?
So we don't have Deb here to give her professional opinion on this, right?
That's correct. Now, you've talked to Deb, but she has not done an official review because their contract just got approved today.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just in an overlap. So definitely can make it contingent upon, because we talked about, I talked with your wife about that
Mhm.
she had talked to Deb, but we have not gotten her official. So we can just make it contingent upon additional review.
Because we're not inclined to want to approve vinyl windows. And if the first floor windows are wood, then I feel like the second floor ones need to be the same.
I talked to Deb as well, and my conversation before I walked in here is, why am I looking at vinyl here? Because we've worked with the historic committee before, and so I opened it up just to walk in here and was kind of like, ugh. So I thought they were fiberglass, and I would be very happy to get a contingent that we're using more of an approved style of window. I would be happy to see that. That's what I was expecting to put in, and since the paperwork had vinyl, I was like, all right, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Expecting this to happen, but hey, so.
Yeah, because I think, in our approved list, like Anderson, Marvin, Pella,
Right.
all have really nice casement windows where you can
Mhm.
get the true mutton bars. And I'm sure you can get a profile that's going to look very close to what you have on the first floor. That's
Right.
the kind of similarity we would be looking for. And the fact that it's on the second floor versus the first floor really doesn't have any bearing. It's really how the whole facade looks, at least on the street side, but ideally the whole house.
Understood.
Yeah, I need a motion, if I could, from one of the board members, that
Yeah,
we would
so-
continue.
Yeah, so I would make a motion to deny this request for these types of windows.
While we
Okay.
wait for,
You don't have a COA number, so it's even more important that you
Okay,
identify the property in your motion with the address.
let me find the address then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have it right here. Okay, so I make a motion to deny the COA for 916 Pine Street.
contingent on
Contingent.
Deb.
I think it's just a denial. I'm sure that's what Deb would say too.
Would it be an acceptable alternative to use the different materials for the construction of it? So we'll talk to Deb and use either the vinyl wrapped wood or,
Well, not vinyl. So you have a choice of aluminum clad wood or fiberglass clad wood.
Okay.
Or I think it's solid fiberglass, which is what Marvin and Pella and Anderson all offer.
is it reasonable to request that we get the approval contingent on us changing the material it's made of?
Hmm.
You mean rather than coming back next month with the new application?
Mhm. We'd like to get the property on track again and moving and ready to
Sure,
be
understand.
habitable.
Wendy, is that something we could ask the staff to look at? Or
Yeah,
is-
we can do that. So
And
what we could do is just, and we can work with Deb, because I heard from her today.
Okay,
So we can send everything over to her and work with Deb and find the appropriate, you two can work that out. And then we'll just say it's approval upon
staff review.
staff review, knowing what we've just talked about here, including Deb.
Okay,
Does that sound good?
Great.
And it just keeps us moving, and then you two can determine what's
Right.
going to be best, and then we'll make sure it honors what you've requested.
Okay,
Okay?
so I'll amend my motion to be that we'll deny this petition for 916 Pine Street contingent on the applicant submitting new information for windows subject to the staff review.
Excuse me, but I'm confused by this motion. So we deny it, he's done, basically.
Yes,
So if we approve it, but conditioned on his changing his materials consistent with Deb and the staff, that would accomplish, I think, what you're looking for.
okay, so approve it contingent on the review. All right. My bad. So I'll reword it again. So I make a motion that we approve this petition, the COA for 916 Pine Street, contingent on the applicant providing new window information for review by the staff.
Do I have a second?
Could you just add, and that it be accepted by the staff?
Reviewed and accepted by the staff. Thank you, Mr. Hale.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. We
Thank
won't,
you.
we probably won't see you at our next meeting. then.
Right.
Well, you might as well just stay there if you like. So you don't have to sit back down. We'll move on to 832 Pine. This is the greenhouse
This is-
that you're thinking
Great,
of.
because I love everything you've done with it so far.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
thank
really
you.
cool. So again, like the other, there was a previous COA approved. And this is again, an upgrade, a request, to revisit, the stairs and the deck replacement. Again, hindsight, I should have grabbed a photo off of Google Maps so you could see it. I gave you the drawing, but I didn't give you, the photo, so I apologize for that. But this is again, an upgrade, just given the staircase, they had to be torn out, and trying to meet the code. If you recall, this is like, there's a carriage house
Mhm.
with the property. So connecting the carriage house to the back of the property, you know what I'm talking about on the corner street?
Yes.
Yes.
So this design intends, they've come back asking if the new design could be a single staircase between them, with the deck off the back, because it's actually easier to construct. And it makes a lot more sense for ingress and egress between the two properties. And so their new builder created kind of a diagram of what this would look like. I went to Sue Downs, the building commissioner, and just said, hey, if this, for example, if this were not in a historic district, would you have any issue with the construction or the layout or the design or anything? And she said, no, it actually makes a lot of sense. So I thought, okay, well, then the idea is solid. The question is, putting it before review for all of you to consider. And if you'd like, again, to confer with Deb, since she was not on board yet. And so I will also, would you like to say anything about the deck?
I
Staircase?
think you covered it. The only thing that I think would be pertinent to it is here, this is last year, but this is at this time. You can see this is the rear of it. There already was a staircase coming down the back, so we're trying to get that deck as close to it. But also you can see pretty evidently there that ingress and egress were not met. And to what she said, we've run this scenario as many ways as possible, and it's just very difficult to get any egress and ingress that actually meets code. So we tried it, and it was a twisty turny design, and it didn't actually work on the rear staircase. So we're coming back. We actually tore out our own work and said, okay, let's try this again. Can we do something that we tried to set it as far back in the property as well, so that street side was as identical to what it always has been. And we're hoping that we can do the design before you so that we're able to meet those ingress and egress requirements while still maintaining is historicity a word? Is that a word?
That came up the other day. I don't know.
I'll use it since somebody
like
else
it.
did. Using maintaining the historicity of the
Yes.
property.
It's very impressive.
Yes.
If it's a word.
If it's a
Don't look it up. It's a word.
So as I look at the diagram, the orientation of the drawing is north. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because the carriage house is on the right, the house is on the left.
Yes,
And the deck is the deck that exists now that runs across the front of the carriage garage, correct?
correct.
And then you're gonna create a landing and some stairs that go down on the side of the carriage garage. And then, but I don't quite see where the edges of the house are. So that's why it's confusing to me what I'm looking at here.
Understood.
So what are the edges on this drawing? What are the edges of the house?
I don't think they.
The edges of the house are,
I see a door and a window.
yes, that is the
That part
edge
of the house?
Yes.
Okay. And then it's just space behind there? So the stair is like out in space there behind
The stairs are out in space. I'm not,
behind the, in other words, they're not they're not attached to the house.
they are. I'm still not following you for some reason. So there would be a post set right here where the 3x3 landing is. And then there would be the skirt board would run along and be attached to the house and then connected to the deck that's the rooftop deck.
Oh,
Am I answering the question?
I think what he's asking is on this drawing, it looks like there's steps going up
Yes.
there at the top. Where do those steps go to?
Oh, the steps that go to I got you. Okay, so those steps are going up to the rooftop deck. And then there's the rear entry for the second floor back there.
The rooftop deck for the garage?
No,
No,
for
this is
the
house.
for the house.
The garage is.
Yeah. Okay.
So these stairs go down the little alleyway between the carriage house and the main structure, take a left, go up to the landing, take another left, and you're up on the second floor, or take a right and step up to the carriage.
I see. Okay. This helps a lot. I get it.
Dan got it up on a colored picture, so.
Ah,
So this already exists, the roof deck already exists, and now you're just trying to get the egress stair?
it did until 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you had to take it down?
We took it down, yeah.
I see.
There were some of the points were not strong, and so we took it down for safety reasons anyways.
Okay. And you're gonna just leave it the bare wood like that? And let it just let it weather to gray?
I'm not sure what you're looking at.
What is the finish of the stairs and
The
the,
finish of the stairs, I think we would probably just stain dark.
okay,
So, but something natural, we understand that the historic committee doesn't like to see bright orange.
No,
yeah,
So-
right, okay. But just some kind of, it'll be, like
It would be a natural,
pine
finish.
that's stained dark or something.
right?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
any other question?
Yeah, so you said you did review this with the building department now and Sue Downs is okay with it?
I did.
Oh, you did,
I
okay.
did.
We did as well.
All right.
So-
Okay, did you? Okay, I wasn't sure if you guys had a chance
Yes.
to talk to him.
So
Right.
it meets all the code requirements and everything? Okay.
Okay, we need a motion with the address.
I make a motion to approve this COA for 832 Pine Street, the new deck and stairs as presented.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So we'll work with you on 9/16 and then we should be good to go on 8/32. We'll get your letter done.
Understood. Yeah,
Okay,
like
great.
Like I said, I saw it was vinyl. I was like, did you send me into the lion's den?
Yeah, the
Vinyl.
vinyl windows.
With a vinyl sword?
With a vinyl sword. Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate all the work that you've done on both of these properties.
Yes, yes.
They're going to be really great.
Thank you, we appreciate it. We'll be up and running here pretty soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so the third one on the list here is 315 to 319 East Ninth. This is the replacement or repair of the back picket fencing on this property. Honestly, I made an error here. My recommendation would be to table this until Deb can take a look at it, and that's how I should have dealt with it. So that's a mistake on my part. So Stephen, I'm not sure how we address that, if the board can make a motion to just table this at my request, or how does that work? Yeah.
I know that we have some time constraints. So perhaps the motion could be that we need additional information from the applicant. What do you need to make a decision?
We need to go out and do a site visit and some additional photos. So that's what I'll do. I'll ask him for additional information and then schedule that so that we can fill the gap in the next 2 weeks.
As well as information on what the new fence is,
Yes.
design and materials.
Yeah, he's leaving just replacing the pickets, but we need more information, and Deb needs to take a look at it. So that one's on me.
Is
Apologies.
our next meeting the regularly scheduled
Yes.
one?
Yes, on the
fourth
23rd.
Monday, the 23rd?
Yes.
Then that's less than 30 days, so we could continue to that next meeting then.
Would you like to make that motion?
I move that we continue this application until the next regularly scheduled meeting on June.
20.
This is for, what's the address? Is it just 315?
And 319.
319.
319.
315 and 319 East 9th Street. The application for a certificate of appropriateness. Make a motion that we continue this in order to obtain additional information from the applicant until the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission on June 23.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
What can I suggest? Should we hang on to this paperwork, or will there be new paperwork submitted?
We'll give you new paperwork.
Okay.
So I think that closes out item 6 on the agenda.
Yes. And item 7,
There are 200 items under maintenance staff review. These are for roof replacements, like material, like kind, one for one. They're right next to each other. As a
Right.
matter of fact, on Spring Street. So this is 817 and 819 Spring Street. So those have been approved by staff and will move through permitting.
okay. Any committee reports?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Old business.
Yes, we have a couple items under old business, which hopefully will be good news under old business. We have worked everything out with Indiana Landmarks and their contract, both the 2024 missing payment, the 2025 contract that was in Board of Works today for approval. So we're in good shape. We had a really productive meeting with them a couple weeks ago as well. Just talking about how we're regrouping on our end and how things will work moving forward. So I feel very positive about that. So we'll have Deb's expertise back with us so that we can continue to do our process improvements. So I thought that was really good. Item number B is an update on Indiana Landmarks requirements for workshops. This is one of the things I'll ask Deb to speak to when she's here at the next meeting. But we had spoke a little bit about this at the workshop where they need to, just given the expertise of some of the folks that they put forward with the workshops, they just want to make sure they have good attendance and a way of tracking that attendance and being able to have the most successful workshops as possible. Moving forward, depending on the type of workshop, the cost of that workshop may need to be passed on To us, it makes sense. Those could be done on a one-on-one basis. But again, she can talk a little bit more about that, but that was also a really productive conversation with Indiana Landmarks and kind of what they need for us to make these workshops more attainable and to make them work for them as well. So, but we will look forward to hearing from Deb. Item C, which is the request for the redevelopment commission. That was the kind of the draft, I'll say, ask partnership cooperation letter that Lawrence Zimmer prepared. I don't think we had any specific comments on it. At this time, it's sitting in draft. It's something that can be sent on to the redevelopment commission if that's the pleasure of the board to maybe create a dialogue at least. And you know, this goes along with a request that I'll be making to do kind of a joint workshop with the Urban Enterprise Association for similar reasons, trying to understand the overlap of the organizations, where these opportunities might be, who needs to know what. I think that will go a long way. So that's the one that came to mind when I was reading the letter. But if it's the pleasure of the board, we can go ahead and adhere to that and then pass it along to the redevelopment commission and see if they'd like to have a discussion.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Did everybody receive the document and have a chance to review it?
Yes.
Thanks.
I thought it was very good. I appreciate you doing that, Larry.
You're welcome.
And I think it's good too, Wendy, just so you know, we were surprised one day at a meeting when we started getting phone calls that the glass sculptures from the lights were gone. We knew nothing about it. It went to the council and I went to that meeting to find out why. And there was several reasons, but we were the last to know. So this will be good, I think. Okay.
There's a couple others under the old business. You know, we continue to work on our certificate of appropriateness. Believe me, I will get it updated. We have just been looking at so many other things. So I'm working on that now. And so you'll have a revised draft of that to look at for the next meeting. We're also just looking at process. That's item number E. We pulled the COA process into cloud permit, but after looking at it, we think we did it a little prematurely. And
Thank you.
So we have it seemed good at the time, but it's a little too soon for that. So we've approved everything that's already in there. We've shut off that feature for now, and we're going back to, as I like to say, analog for now. We have our old email address that has been resurrected so that folks can scan and submit that way. So you'll see that information coming along, but we'll take them the old fashioned way until we get everything pulled back together. So I'm glad about how all of it's going and what all of us are learning. I think we're in good shape. We just still have some additional work to do. So that would be the items under old business.
I do have one more comment though on that, the letter that you are going to forward on to the redevelopment commission.
Yeah.
Is that something you just do behind the scenes, or does that get presented at their meeting, and should I be present to talk about it? Or?
I'll talk to Skylar and then let you know.
Okay.
Because it's really a request to have a conversation
Okay.
in my mind.
Yeah, I just
We'll
don't know,
see.
like,
Right.
when would that conversation?
Right,
take place?
let me find out and then I'll circle back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You bet. So we can go on to, I do believe, new business, if everybody is okay with the closeout of old business. Okay, so new business. One of the items that came up during the conversation that we had with Indiana Landmarks about their contract was the need to have a work plan. It was something that was intended to be done in the beginning of the year, and it's just one of those things that didn't happen. So no time like the present. And Deb and the folks in Indiana Landmarks agreed. So what we would like to do is facilitate that discussion at the next standing meeting. If folks would be willing to possibly come an hour early and kind of workshop a little bit about the work plan. In other words, what would you like to see accomplished between now and the end of the year? And maybe even thinking a little bit about 2026, and some things may get pushed. So if the group is amenable to that, that was a request that Deb had mentioned that you've done it that way before. It's almost kind of a workshop. And it's just talking about the work plan. So if that is acceptable to the group, we'll work on putting that on the agenda for the next scheduled meeting.
Is there any objections to meeting at 5 on the June, at the end of the month at our regular meeting?
Not from me.
Would we be meeting in here, Wendy, or?
We will double check the room availability and get
okay.
all that taken care of.
Okay.
If there's somebody else in here, we'll find another spot because the most important thing is for us just to be able to chat and talk about the plan.
Okay.
And communication is a big one.
Thank
We
you.
talked a lot about that and a few other things. So we'll work that out and get the details together for all of you.
Thank you.
So you would want us to be thinking about what we would like to see our goals be?
What I'll do is, in Indiana Landmarks contract, they kind of have a table where they talk about just work elements. And it's really helpful because it begins to orient yourself to kind of the whole program. So I'll take that kind of little table with some of the things they identified. And I'll put in some blank spaces for things for you can look at that list and then maybe add some things. Because like I said, even if they're not in 2025, we could move them to 2026. But that list is helpful. So I could do that ahead of time
Okay.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
prep. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank
Give
you.
us some kind of a framework
Yes.
of what to think about.
absolutely. Be
Thanks.
happy to do that. Sure.
Yep.
All right, so we'll get that out. I think that'll be really good to revisit where we are and what we all agree needs to be done. Again, I had mentioned doing some sort of workshop with the Urban Enterprise Association. And it seems like that was generally agreed to all around. They are very excited as well. Clearly, they want to do the right thing. They have different sorts of pots of money. And I think everybody's just looking for a lot of clarity. And so we can pull that together and be helpful there. One of the things I want to mention as well, I don't know if it didn't make the agenda, perhaps, but we made a map widget for the historic district. This is on the front page of the existing city website. If you just scroll down, it's the map. You don't go to a link. This is what it looks like. The UEA has one too that we had. So we will then do a combo map of the UEA and this. But you can, if you go there, you send folks there, you can zoom in on the map and see where you're at in the district and click on it and get information about your zoning, your district. There's a bunch of different data fields in there that's pretty handy. So I just wanted to point this out as a way to try to give more clarity to folks, whether they're buying a home or they already live in a home or a business. Am I in the district? Do I know that?
Mhm.
So we thought this would be a nice way to start to really use our data sets like we talked about. And so I'd like to thank the GIS folks in the IT department, because when I give them something like this, they always make it happen in pretty short order. So just another thing to hopefully make life a little bit better. So with that, that's all that I have on the staff side. So that concludes item number 10.
Okay, and since we have no public here, we'll scooch on to 12. Anyone from the commission have any comment?
Yes, I do. So I'm also on the Sustainability Commission. And so I'm going to make a comment about what we talked about earlier about these file folders and all the pencil, all the paper clips and stuff. If it's not inconvenient for people, maybe we can just unclip everything, give all the clips back to her and give her our file folders back. And she can just fill them again and give them to us next meeting.
I think that would be wonderful.
And she doesn't have to make new ones every month.
There
Right.
you go.
Well, she's got to worry about those snacks.
Yes, see, because when we save money, then we have more money for snacks.
That's
right?
true.
So
That's
the
true.
Economics.
Well,
Yes. We will
hardware.
make it happen.
Yeah.
They're all the hardware in a bag.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. Thank you so much. That's a great idea.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. You have anything else that you need to tell us, Wendy? How about Gigi doesn't either? Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Everybody's taking their paper clips off.
Oh yeah, one more thing. So then everybody make sure that this all gets recycled, okay? Whatever your local recycle bin is, make sure it ends up there.
Oh, yeah.
motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Anthony and Bill, thank you.